The truth behind Japan's cheating culture. We're back with another Japanese culture video, man. Every time we drop one of these, y'all seem to go crazy with them. And honestly, they're very interesting. I feel like you get a different view in, walk of life over in Japan. And, I think over here, we all pretty much love anime and that type of stuff. And not to say that anime is the only thing that goes on in Japan, but I think it's one of those things where it's like a gateway into like, oh, I really want to find out more about Japanese culture. So I'm locked in. I'm really excited to see this video and see. I didn't even know that was like a thing over there. Cheating culture. Okay, that's kind of odd. Let's get right into the video. Make sure you guys tap into the Twitch streams. We're streaming every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at around 8 p.m. So I want to see y'all there. Where you at, family? You already know what it is. Come on, let's do it.
Where you at, Berto?
風俗に行くことは浮気かどうかっていう、どう思いますか？イエスかノー、イエスかノーで。
No.
No.
What? I don't know if y'all read that. It said, did prostitution count as cheating? And they said no?
金払えばいいよって言ったことあります。
Recently, street interviews have gone viral featuring Japanese people saying that cheating is okay. If you haven't seen this before, you're welcome for the culture shock. But there's more, because you have uni students in research papers going even further to say, well, everyone cheats, and husbands reflecting on their affairs, stating, if you want sex, that's where the girlfriend comes in. I'm gonna take a wild guess here and say this kind of thinking and attitude towards cheating is not one you're familiar with. So where does this difference in value come from? And is there actually a cheating culture in Japan? To properly investigate this matter, I need to take you back in time to an era where Japan was
history lesson, boys.
Chill with cheating. Cheating occurs when you're in an exclusive relationship and you have an emotional or sexual affair with someone who is not your partner. Now here's
I think we all know what cheating is. I don't think you needed to explain that, but hey, I don't know. I've never heard anyone be like, this is what cheating is, but hey, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Question for you. What happens when you're in a committed relationship but you don't care for your partner at all? In ancient Japan, this was a common problem people faced because historically, commitments like marriage were not about love. The point of marrying someone was to form alliances between your families and to produce heirs. So it was almost like a business deal. Once you fulfilled your duties to your family, you were then free to pursue your own individual desires, like finding passion or love. We can see this mindset very—
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, I guess I always kind of knew that just from even like other cultures with arranged marriages to a degree, but I didn't know that it was just so flat out like a business transaction.
clearly during the Heian era in Japan. Among the Heian elite, married couples often slept in separate residences, which made it really easy for other people to slip in and out of bedrooms without awkwardly encountering the wife or husband. It literally could not be easier to cheat. The Heian era was the most infamous time in Japan for cheating because it commonly occurred and because both men and women could cheat. As time progresses, we'll see cheating still occurs, but it becomes more and more of a thing only men could get away with. A few hundred years later, during the Tokugawa period, these restrictions came into place. If men from the elite class wanted to sleep around, they could do so, but these activities had to be within Yoshiwara, Japan's first legal red light district. For elite class women, it was frowned upon for them to seek other partners. Confucian thought, introduced through the text Onna Daigaku, or greater learning for women, required them to be faithful to only one husband. So, a double standard had emerged, and it was solidified during the Meiji era in the 19th century. The Japanese government implemented the Ie system, emphasizing traditional household roles. Men went out to work, and women looked after the home. This structural division justified a lot of the cheating that was conducted by men. Japanese men worked hard for their family. They were the breadwinner. So if they occasionally needed an—
Kind of sounds like, you know, some Western culture as well.
But if a woman were to cheat, she would be disrespecting her
Red pill
husband
style
and her
type of
children.
shit.
For a while during the Meiji era, there was even a law that stated a husband had the right to kill his wife and her lover if he found them committing adultery.
Oh my God. Damn. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. If we still had this to this day, motherfucker, I bet motherfuckers will stop cheating.
With such biased laws and widespread justification for men to cheat, women were low-key gaslit into thinking affairs were acceptable husband behavior. Even if they didn't like it, there was little they could do to stop it. Public opinion was that it was fine, and before World War II, it was not uncommon for upper middle class men to have one or even two mistresses, as it was a sign of social prestige. At the time, the prevailing belief was if you couldn't keep a mistress, you were second rate. This double standard for cheating remained until after World War II. What changed? Well, political reforms and the introduction of Christian ideals during this time led to monogamy becoming the new norm for both genders. And we can see this reflected in the law. Before 1948, under Japanese law, adultery was only about the sexual relationship of a married woman with another man. I know. So now applying the same standard to men signaled a huge change in values in Japanese society. And this is honestly a very recent development. It hasn't even been 100 years. Compare this to the ancient Greeks and Romans, first millennium Jews and Christians, medieval Catholics, early modern Protestants, where marital monogamy has been the mainstream in the West for millennia. Not only is there a stark difference between Japan and the West in adapting monogamy, Japan also differs from its East Asian neighbors. Yes, Confucian teaching of loyalty and faithfulness was introduced to Japan, but it was only really applied to women. The Confucian definition of marriage, a monogamous bond between a man and a woman, was never really adopted by the Japanese. And Japan's most popular religions, Buddhism and Shinto, didn't place as much emphasis on marriage or monogamy as Christianity did in the West, or as Confucianism did in East Asia. As you can see, these religious or philosophical differences played a very big role in emphasizing or not emphasizing marital monogamy, and all of this has a huge impact on what Japanese society later deems as acceptable. Laws may have changed, and monogamy may be the expectation now, but ways of thinking shaped by thousands of years of history do not just disappear overnight. So let's take a look at what Japanese people nowadays think, starting with the demographic featured in all those street interviews. Do young Japanese people really think this way, or is this just a cherry pick?
This shit down to the roots.
Let's find out. University, a time when nothing truly mattered. Lectures were held to be skipped, assignments were made to be submitted late, and uni campus was a landmark, a place you saw once a while and never for a long time. This spirit of nothing matters seemed to be shared in Japan too, though slightly differently. Momoko, a 21-year-old student, cuts to the chase. Cheating is forgivable because we are still college students. This was her response to Kimura and Farah in their 2021 paper on how university students in Japan dealt with cheating. Most responses in the paper said cheating was common, and nearly every respondent justified it as
not for me, nigga. My bitch cheat on me it's up. But the thing is, I'm the type of guy, bro. I'm not gonna act like I wouldn't be upset, but I would be so like, I found out my hoe cheated on me. I would be so like disgusted with her that there really wouldn't even be much for me to say, bro. Like I'd just be like, hey, bro, don't talk to me, don't talk to me, don't talk to me. I don't even want to know. It's over, it's done. Period. You know what I'm saying? And obviously it hurt my feelings and but I just wouldn't even want to, like, there's nothing else to talk about. It's over.
a product of youth. It's a rather grim image. There's a shared belief among these respondents that because they're young, relationships aren't that serious anyways, and it's not like you're thinking about marriage, so cheating is more acceptable. May, a 22-year-old who cheated, says, "Because I am a university student, I do not need to have a very serious relationship. Basically, I started infidelity with a light heart." And I have a confession to make. I've cheated too.
Jesus, we getting honest on this hoe, huh?
On my study schedule. Yeah.
That weak ass fucking joke. I'm gonna let you have it though. Jesus.
I set all these goals for myself, like get fluent in a language, but how am I going to get fluent if I'm always on YouTube or TikTok instead of actually studying?
Is this a brand deal? I'm smelling a brand deal. Let's hear it out.
Well, something that's worked for me is to not force myself to open a textbook and start drilling vocab. That sounds horrible, but to simply work smarter, not harder. You never have to convince yourself to watch another anime episode. In fact, the struggle is to stop. So why fight that urge? Migaku is your one-stop link.
There it is. Come on, man. I'm too fucking good at this shit. It's like I can just smell the shit.
Infidelity with
Get your bag though, queen.
the light heart. These responses make cheating sound very commonplace and acceptable, but I do need to emphasize the study looked only at those who had cheated or were the third person or were cheated on. It's a very specific demographic, so we can't assume the views and experiences
Y'all
being
better
shared
never
here
skip my
reflect
brand
the
deals, though.
experiences and
I
thoughts
need
of
my
the
money.
broader population. Still, these responses offer some insightful perspectives. Respondents who cheated often minimize their behavior by rationalizing and justifying it, saying it's not a big deal, we're still young, and everyone does it. Despite this, there were still respondents in the same study who stated cheating was morally unacceptable and a deal breaker. Daiki, a 22-year-old who was cheated upon, says, "Yeah, I'm the type that doesn't forgive stuff like that. I'd kind of just immediately lose feelings for her." Many respondents who were cheated on broke up with their partner because they had the idea of once a cheater, always a cheater. And I know this is something that splits the room, so let me know in the comments below if you agree with it.
I think once a cheater, always a cheater. Yes and no. It's kind of like if you cheated in high school or middle school, I don't think it necessarily applies. You know, maybe even in college. But at the same time, man, if you meet somebody who was just living bad and they completely turned their life around and, you know, have just different morals and values, because that is a real thing. Like, they don't necessarily have to be a cheater now. But what I will say is, if it looks like a duck, smells like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck. So if you're seeing the red flags, you're seeing a lot of bad habits, things that are just blaring, things that you wouldn't want to deal with in your partner, then yeah, like they probably are still a fucking cheater, especially if they've cheated in the past. You know what I mean? So I trust people's actions, not their words.
Because we can even see a clear divide here in this study. There were those who thought cheating was okay, mostly the cheaters, and those who thought it should never happen, and they were usually the ones who got cheated on. When it comes to the street interviews, I suspect we're seeing a similar occurrence here. Those who cheat or have cheated will likely minimize their behavior, saying it's okay and it's common. But the part that seemed to shock people the most from these street interviews was how chill Japanese women seem to be with the idea of their partner saying a prostitute. So we're going to address this, and this is where all that historical context we looked at comes in handy. Remember, it wasn't until very recently, until after World War II, that the idea of monogamy was
Which
enforced
wasn't
in
that
Japan
long
for
ago,
both
guys.
genders. So
If you
for
really think
centuries
about it.
prior, Japanese women would know their husbands were cheating on them, having affairs or visiting prostitutes to relax after work, and they could do absolutely nothing about it. Of course, things have changed now, but the ways of thinking or societal expectations can still linger.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than like racism in the West. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that long ago. It's still out there. So even though a lot of stuff have changed, and it's not as common to just be walking down the street and motherfucker just be like, "Hey, you," nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not technically what's going to be happening on a day-to-day basis in the West, but it's still out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's still we still weeding out the weirdos.
Many of these female respondents say they're fine with their partner seeing a prostitute, but are they really okay with it? Or is there still social pressure in being a chill girl because just 2 generations ago men could cheat and women were okay with it? Take a look at the reason why this respondent thinks prostitution is not cheating.
風俗に
Prostitution's crazy though. He couldn't just go clap a local hoe. Like, damn, you got to go pros on them.
のイエスかノーで。
の
ノ
全然嫌ではあります。
ー。いや。なるほど、なるほど。じゃあ、自分が重いって思われたくないっていうのを理由に浮気だとは思わないっていうことですか。なるほど。
It's easy for us in the West to assume that not seeing a prostitute is the bare minimum. In fact, if that were a requirement, the bar is truly in hell. But the same privilege is not so readily afforded to Japanese women. The relationship between cheating and societal expectations gets even deeper when we look at the generation above. If you weren't shocked already by what you have seen, hold on tight, because for this generation, cheating is often not the problem, it's the solution. In CNN's 2019 docuseries on sex and love around the world, Japanese respondents shared their views on love, marriage, and affairs. One Japanese woman declares, "I love my husband and I love my boyfriend. What's wrong with that?"
Huh?
In Sakoto Sayaka's book on marriage infidelity in Japan, she notes that Japanese men liked how their wife did the housework and understood their role at work. As for their mistress, Japanese men liked her appearance and the sex they shared. For Japanese women, though, everything about the new guy was better. His personality, his appearance, his hobbies, the sex.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the side chick's always gonna hit a little bit harder than the main, bruh. And the reason is because the side chick understands her place. She understands there's no strings attached. She understands that, hey, it's just lust. It's just a good time. But you know what is true though, and this is why there's no point of even really having a side chick. It's because when you go and like cheat on your partner and you walk away from the person that's holding you down to just kind of be with the person that's a good time, that's all it is. You're in that little situationship or affair for a good time. It's all lustful, it's all dopamine, it's all, you're not supposed to be doing this, it's so wrong but it feels so right type shit. But let you break up with your main partner and go take that person seriously. Now all of a sudden the real pressure of the relationship that you are dealing with in your real relationship is going to arise, and it might be fucking worse, because know another thing, how you get them is sometimes how you lose them, bro. You know what I mean? So if you are cheating, one, you need to stop that. That's wrong. You shouldn't do that. You should be man enough to let your partner know that, hey, you just don't fuck with him. Or if you're a woman, you should be woman enough to just be like, hey, I don't fuck with you, nigga. I want to go fuck this other nigga, bro. You know what I'm saying? But y'all, you really need to like think about that. Like, the reason why this other person feels so good and it's such a great time, and every time you go to them, it's never a problem, but your boyfriend or your girlfriend is always dramatic and it's because, again, your affair doesn't have the same pressure that a relationship has. It's just straight dopamine and lust, and those stuff feel good. You know what I mean?
There was nothing the husband could offer that was better. Damn, that's brutal. But this raises the question. I mean, I guess with Japanese men, they might keep their wife around so someone does all the laundry and the dishes. But what is making Japanese women stay if their lover is better in every single way? Well, there's two parts to Japanese culture here that explains why people who cheat often would rather keep cheating than get a divorce. And that's Gaman culture and shogunai. Gaman culture is a Japanese concept where one endures hardship without complaints. It's deeply ingrained in Japanese culture, and if you've heard of Japan...
I have heard about this. I mean, I didn't know what it was like. I didn't know what it was called, but I have heard that, just in Japanese and Asian culture in general, it feels like they endure so much and work so hard, but failure is like not an option. So it's almost like it's better to just go through the bullshit than to say, we quit. You know what I mean? Which divorce would essentially mean we quit the marriage.
Long working hours, Gaman culture is what pushes workers to endure such brutal conditions. In the same way, it may encourage those in unhappy marriages to keep sticking it out even if they want a different life or a different partner. Another trait stemming from Gaman culture is the attitude of shogunai, or it can't be helped. Basically, it is what it is. And if you remember the girl from earlier, she actually expresses this exact attitude when asked about her partner seeing a prostitute.
嫌だけど、しょうがないかなって思っちゃう。
しょうがない。
しょうがない。
When given a chance to elaborate, she confesses she doesn't like her partner going to see a prostitute. And let's be honest here, who would? But she still says it's fine because it can't be helped. Gaman culture and this attitude of it can't be helped when applied to a marriage often leads to couples staying together even when they're deeply unhappy because it's expected of them. And also because the family unit, the kids, and social appearances, all of this is often considered more important than individual happiness.
I mean, it's like, again, I think at the end of the day, if you're not happy, like you are genuinely miserable in your relationship, you should be able to walk away from it. But at the same time, man, like, I don't know. I think again we're having two different conversations here. If we're talking about cheating and disrespecting the relationship, like I feel like you should just let that relationship go. But at the same time, just on some grown man shit, it's like too many families are ripped apart because it's so easy to just walk away. Like, oh, we'll just get a divorce. You know what I'm saying? And like, no, what's the big deal? We'll just get a divorce. We're not happy, fuck it. You know what I mean? And I do think there's some truth to the fact that, bro, life's not all about just being happy all the time. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices for the people you love. You dig? Which is could be your wife and your kids, your relationship. Like, don't just end it as soon as you're unhappy, because you're not gonna be happy every day. Bro, I wake up in a new mood every motherfucking day. You know what I'm saying? Like some days you're gonna wake up and you're gonna really dislike your partner, but the big picture is what's supposed to keep y'all together. So, I think to a degree I can definitely respect that side of the culture. But, if we're having the other part of the conversation, like I don't agree with the cheating though. I don't agree with the disrespect. You know what I mean? I don't agree with um one partner feeling like they're better than the other and they can kind of do whatever while the other can't. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with that.
Husband know? No. What would you do if you found out? Divorce? No. Why?
子供たちがえ
So you're happy now?
Yes.
In these cases, quietly cheating often becomes the solution instead of the problem. Again, please note that in a happy marriage, this obviously does not apply. And cheating does come with consequences in Japan. It's not as trivial as these respondents would make it seem. For example, Carolina Shino, crowned Miss Japan in 2024, had to return her title after it was revealed that she had an affair with a married man.
Wow.
Yagutsu Becky, Wata Beken are all famous Japanese public figures whose careers took a hit after news of them having affairs or being involved in one came out. Cheating is not more common in Japan than in other countries. It's simply the attitude around cheating that catches us off guard. Many viewers who see these videos may leave with the impression that there is a cheating culture in Japan, but that is simply wrong. These responses, which can be easily misunderstood, have to be interpreted within the context of Japanese society, culture, and history. Behind the nonchalant attitudes displayed here is a long history of patriarchal laws that have shaped and guided the Japanese, particularly women, on what to expect from a relationship. And with the older generation, cheating can be viewed as the easier alternative than splitting up and dealing with the social consequences. Nevertheless, Japan is no better or worse at cheating than other countries.
Yeah, that's kind of what I started to pick up on. Is just like they have different backgrounds and whatnot, but it's all more of the same.
While infidelity exists in Japan, it is not truly acceptable in the eyes of most Japanese people, nor is there a culture that celebrates or encourages cheating. Viral content wouldn't be viral if the responses weren't shocking. While some Japanese may normalize cheating, the majority still value trust and fidelity in their relationships. In the cases where cheating does occur, looking back at historical and cultural values as we've examined today can help explain why people react the way they do in these circumstances. Thank you for watching.
W video, man. Hey, this was a great video. You guys go check her out, man. Ani is am I saying that correctly? If I'm not, I apologize, but I'll like and I'll subscribe, and you make sure you guys do the same for my video as well. I love y'all, appreciate y'all. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Was this new news to you? Did you know about this? And yeah, I'm very curious to hear y'all feedback. Make sure you guys tap into the live streams. We stream every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Where you at, family? Y'all know where to find me.
Where you at, Berto?